Hello, everyone, and welcome to Empower Series, episode 6, and the first one this financial year. Thank you for your time today. It seems to be a very critical time of the year. And what are we going to discuss in the next 3 episodes of the Empower series is asking a question on whether the business have outgrown current systems and is it necessary to make a massive change? Maybe or maybe not. Let us find out how we can go about identifying one and how Exigo Tech can be a catalyst to this process. Let me introduce you to Philip Meyer, who is partner technology strategist with Microsoft and an industry veteran. In his career, probably he has seen more major technology evolution, and I'm sure he will be feeling the new shift in AI is one of those major one after rise of internet. So in the next 3 episodes, what are we going to discuss? We will go through some key aspects of identifying on whether you have outgrown your systems and how we can assist you with various engagements. It is important to detect the warning signs within your organizations, explore upgrade strategies, and with this era of AI, to find out how you can leverage AI in this upgrade. We will discuss through real-world success stories and how Exigo Tech has played an expertise role in this process. Why business invest in technology? What is the strategy of investing in technology? So in this, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about when thinking about business strategies, consider their potential impact on 4 key aspects of this. In this framework, consider area which is more or less tangible and relate to money coming in and money going out. Starting with top left, revenue growth could be areas such as expansion into new markets, developing new product, cross-sell or upsell. While cost savings could come from productivity improvements or platform consolidation. Market share often relates to customer satisfaction or experience, and an example of risk mitigation might be robust process compliance. Let us ask Phil on what are the modernization strategies and how we can leverage various frameworks available. Over to you, Phil.
Thanks, Vinay, and thanks for those who joined our call today and may end up watching the recording. Look, I think what you've painted here is something we should revisit later on in the session, because just to review, you've got some very good points there about tangibility and money in and out. But to your question, if I may, I'd go to the next slide.
If you want to take a control?
Oh, I can do that. Yeah, why not? Gosh. You think I'd know how to use Teams, don't you? Great. So I just put this into the deck. This is actually not a Microsoft slide. This has actually come from Gartner. It's a piece of work they did some time ago in looking at organizations seeking to modernize. And that continuum of modernizations continues to broaden and grow. But I think we can still use it as a very good basis for conversation in the current order of things. They call it the 5 R's. I might actually start with the 6th R, which has emerged in more recent times, and 6th R being replace, with the definite emergence of SaaS-based applications for CRM solutions, for accounting solutions, for collaboration activities, but even warehousing, logistics, payroll. There are so many areas now where you can find very good broad range capabilities in SaaS, software as a service solutions, that indeed organizations have chosen to replace existing solutions they have by moving to those SaaS-based solutions. But in the context of this piece, the 5 R's, you can see we've got rehost, refactor, re-architect, rebuild. So these kinds of approaches are what we have definitely seen organizations consider. And they've kindly put in there some sort of explanation of what each of those are. In that first fundamental one, the rehosting, is really taking what you've got today and migrating that into some sort of server environment, or maybe even containerizing that environment, not a lot of change to the application. It's really about where it lives. Then the opportunity comes into optimization of those. So it could be changing some of the underlying database structures. So we could talk about moving from SQL Server as a virtual machine to SQL Server, for example, as a managed instance in the construct of the Azure cloud. And that has a shift in the business model as well. Instead of being something you pay for on a consumption basis on a server and compute layer, you actually pay per transaction. Same database, same technologies, but a different business model as we've refactored that application into using these services. Re-architecting is a fairly significant piece of work in terms of modifying or extending the existing code. It could even be changing code segments. There's a number of tools out there that you can even change. I'm hearing from COBOL language into modern programming languages. So that could be a change to consider. And then a complete rebuild. And I think, Vinay, you're even going to share an example of that later on, is that fifth R, the rebuild,
Yeah.
which is really, and I've been around this industry, as you pointed out, for quite some time, 46 years. And in the kind of 40 years ago, we used to talk about it as function point analysis. We'd look at the key functions of old IBM mainframe technologies, and we'd translate that into, at that particular time, other mainframe and mini computer technologies. And that was rebuilding those applications from the proprietary programming languages of various different mainframe and mini computer manufacturers into that. Now, that same thing could be true today. It could be the ability to program in those languages don't exist anymore. Even the source code of those applications don't exist anymore. So, but by the applications provide a purpose, they provide a process, the process is acceptable. So rebuilding to those function points that exist within those applications is that rebuild of the 5 Rs. I did want to put this one up, Vinay, just to kind of paint back a little bit on that rehost and optimize. We do see that first step where many organizations taking that strategy towards modernization is to simply do IaaS, information as a service, virtualizing their applications, but having those applications still in their control. The data, the runtimes, the containers, the operating system is still their choice. Some have sought out to use containerization, whether it's Azure Kubernetes services or other such container platforms. And in that way, their application and data and runtime is still within their responsibility. And the as a service comes from those cloud providers out there, including the Microsofts of the world, the Amazons and the Googles. What we've also seen is the emergence of platform as a service, which actually shifts a lot of that responsibility for many layers of the stack to that cloud vendor. You're not now worrying about what operating system and how the virtualization occurs. You're worrying about your business's application, the data of your business, and focusing on that. If it needs to scale or needs to shrink, then that responsibility becomes a function of the cloud provider rather than your developer having a working partnership with an infrastructure person to lay that out. So I find that that's worthwhile revisiting, and I've seen some examples which have used pizza as a service to try and better explain this as well.
Yeah, but that, like, before going forward, Phil, like, I would like to add to that pass the platform as a service, right? Recently, one of our customer who was using Apple FileMaker programming language, one developer dependency and risk to the billion-dollar business. We worked with them and helped them move from that individual developer dependent programming language to Power Platform, which has helped them to reduce all those issues of even like having a single um, Apple machine to maintain a server, to maintain that programming and all those infrastructure. Just moving to PaaS service made a huge difference that it
Yes.
brought to. So there are so many advantages, and I will discuss about them on how we can help you with that.
That's good. Maybe as a reference point for the people who've joined us today, is a document that we've had maturing over many years as people have moved to the cloud, is this idea of well-architected frameworks. And you can see from the words that are there, the sorts of disciplines that it presents around that architecture. One that I haven't put on the slide that I'm personally very passionate about, which comes to that cost optimization element, is sustainability. I appreciate that many businesses these days are under pressure to represent their sustainability goals, their ESG commitments back to their organisation and even back to various different compliance and governance instruments. In this well-architected framework, it does offer you the ability to consider sustainability goals being achievable, as well as these other items that are highlighted there around simple design principles, operational efficiency, building in security by design, by default, and deployment, the reliability and the scalability of those solutions, and again, that cost optimization as an element of the well-architected framework. And I have included a link there. If you're online now, you should be able to click on that. If you're not, I'm sure we'll provide the link to that along with the recording. So yeah, they're just some thoughts, Vinay, in your question about modernisation strategies, and a few thoughts to consider for the listeners today.
Yeah, sure. And look, where is an AI? How would you leverage an AI in this overall scenario of moving to the cloud or modernization framework?
Well, pardon me. Look, AI to me is part of, not to me, I should actually say Satya Nadella, our wonderful CEO. He describes AI as being part of everything we're doing. So all the Microsoft technologies, Xboxes, PCs, Copilot Plus PC, Microsoft 365, Azure, AI is part of everything we do. So to that end, a lot of work has been put in over the last, particularly around generative AI, if I may, focus more on generative AI. A lot of work has been put into putting generative AI build capabilities in two forms: a low-code approach or even a no-code approach, all the way through to pro-code. And please don't think this is as an or, it's an and. We see many organisations take both together. There was a term that some would use called fusion development, which is the fusion of low-code and pro-code together in a particular project. So the rapid prototyping, the application, the quick results being achieved through low-code, the experience as a result where there may be some levels of optimization that need to be achieved can be then addressed with the pro-code elements to displace those low-code interpretive elements. So wonderful opportunity there to, in a simple representation, to consider low code and pro code. But if I may, Vinay, I'd probably just like to go a little bit deeper to all the options that do exist within inside the build model.
Sure.
And this is a very, very busy slide. It's very busy because you can see all of the choices and considerations that an organisation may want to take, either directly themselves or in partnership with Exigo Tech, in the building out of those solutions that they have. You can see in that build, which is the bottom side, the bottom kind of 80% of this slide is all about the build. The top kind of 20% is the co-pilots, the things that Microsoft makes available as kind of finished services. But you building your own co-pilots can be anything from that low-code experience with all the various different connectors through the advanced services that are there linking into the various different OneLake and Fabric and the purview and governance, all the way through to the right-hand side, which are those frameworks and software development kits. And right there at the heart in the middle are many of the different considerations you'll have around large language models, whether you're going to use OpenAI or Azure OpenAI or Llama or Mistral or one of the other 40 LLMs that sit within inside the Azure OpenAI framework. And even if you're doing more traditional AI, MLOps, flow, ML flows, whether you're doing cognitive services, bot development, document intelligence, safety and vision services, these are also other elements beyond the generative AI space that can be considered as part of this overall AI ecosystem that we'd invite you to leverage as you're bringing forth and extending those existing applications in your business. It might be simply bringing into your existing application some level of multimodal capability, which is the ability to be able to chat to an environment you've developed in a generative way, or even talk to that environment and using generative AI and interpreting up to 40 languages at the moment on the fly: Spanish, French, various different Indian languages, Chinese, etc., and having a conversation with the solutions you've built in the past and as you've extended through those 5 Rs as well. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, I think, to leverage AI in this journey.
So looking at this slide, one thought came to my mind, Phil, is you would have seen a lot of time on LinkedIn, the iceberg analogy for success, that you can see 20% on top, but 80% underneath the water, right? Underneath the surface that you have. It's exactly the
Yes,
same thing. What you see as a co-pilot or a industry-enabled AI technology, but at the bottom, under the roof or under the hood, when you say, you see there is so much of a technology involved, and that sometimes overwhelms the business. That what kind of an investment that we are going to make into it, but how Microsoft has beautifully brought that up, working along with partners to make it usable for the
exactly.
industry and business. I think that's amazing. Yeah.
I like that. I hadn't thought of it as an iceberg. It does look a bit like an iceberg, doesn't it? With all that years of experience stuff at the top, and then that build being the under the water element that goes on and the considerations about it. Maybe another little diagram I can plot in before I pass back to you that would be this one, which
Yeah,
does
sure.
go to safety and security. I do want to emphasize that when you're working within the Microsoft Cloud, your data is your data. It's not data that Microsoft people can see. It's not data that Exigo Tech people can see. It's data that is your data, and it's protected by various different agreements that are in place between us as parties to ensure that your data is your data. And that infrastructure similarly is highly secure, highly reliable. We currently have over 20 data centers in Australia, and we're just about to launch those in New Zealand as well. We're going to 29 data centers in Australia, $5 billion investment, but all that is also based on physical security, as well as all the software securities that we provide as the largest security vendor in the planet now. And then you can see that Copilot Studio kind of giving you that ability to have the co-pilots that we might give you, plus your own co-pilots, that top of the iceberg as your co-pilots with all of that. I like that again, Vinay, that idea that the big piece is sitting underneath where the orchestration and the data elements and those toolkits are being created. And again, I've got on the right-hand side that representation of the Copilot Studio as that kind of low-code, no-code development, but working in harmony with the Azure AI Studio, which is the more pro-code type of environment.
Absolutely. So yeah, look with this, what happens is when I look into this technology and day in, day out, I talk to so many customers. The number of ideas that I get and I want to put it into practice is unlimited. I feel like I'm having a four developers just working for me and converting those ideas into the business cases as much as possible. But yeah, let's move on. Let me take control onto the presentation slide of it. So great, Phil. Thanks for those insights and how Microsoft has been a great in bringing up this technology for the businesses, right? And how a partner ecosystem around Microsoft helps businesses to achieve more through these investments that the businesses go through. And to enable that, what we have are having a different programs. And in my previous series, we have spoke about a lot of different aspects of technology and the product sets and everything we have spoken about, but we haven't spoken about how to get onto this journey, right? So there are various programs, funding programs available from Microsoft, which we would like our customers to leverage. Uh, and it starts with envisioning, right? So it could be a one statement uh, definition from a business that I want to improve a customer experience, or I want to be effective in delivering my services. Starting with that, we can get into the envisioning workshop and envisioning engagement, where we can completely help develop the roadmap for the business. Second is business value assessment. Now, it is not about just one line statement, but you know there is a business challenge or a problem, and I'm going to take you through the uh, a use case of or a case study on business value assessment in this session, where how we go about and approach this, right? So a specific business case where we come out, do a workshop with you, understand, and then we create a report both from the approach perspective as well as the investment perspective, which business can take it to the board for an approval or within the organization, the right stakeholders for an approval, taking an informed decision. And then there is a solution assessment where we go a step further. doing the technical analysis of it, getting into the much more minor details and doing proof of concepts onto those solutions and technologies. So depending on to what journey you are on, we can go from write a single line statement of an envisioning workshop, or doing a tailored demo for your business, whatever you're looking forward to. And then we also have different workshops, not just workshop, but an engagement where we can help business move from their existing systems on-prem, and then help them move to the cloud under AIM assessment program. And this is available for all different business as well as profit, as well as not for profit, commercial as well as not for profit business. I was just reading one article about Microsoft, the amount of uh, charity work that they have been doing. It is in millions and millions of hours that they have been doing, as well as in terms of the free licensing stuff that they are giving to the businesses, charity organizations. Just moving on to the next slide. So I'm going to go through the business value assessment program. And for the people who has joined later on in this session, what we did was we went through this why business invests into technology and talking about four pillars of value in a strategy roadmap, right? More or less, it is towards more or less tangible and money going in and money going out. So if we go across the four quadrants of this, which is revenue growth, cost savings. Revenue growth could be anything starting your new, expanding into a new market, new product or services, or cross sell or upsell, or making, working against your competition, to the cost saving on making your operations more efficient, um, or to a transformation, improving customer experience, or meeting the compliance through risk mitigation side of it. So how we convert this, how we do this into business value assessment workshop and an engagement is we go through the business. We sit down with them in workshops. We understand for each section what would be revenue growth, what are the business goals and strategies, what are the tactics and enablers. So for an example, goals and strategies is growing revenue through approaching new market, developing new product, or improving the ticket size if you are into the service. So all those aspects of it, understand what your business goals and strategies are and where we are going. Then tactics and enablers. What are you doing at a manager level to improve these action items? What are the observable action items, right? And then how we are going to measure these benefits, right? And how we are going to bring this through IT capabilities. So we sit down with the business, we go through this exercise and go one after the other onto all of these four value pillars, and also go through these goals and strategies, tactics, enablers, benefit measurement, and capabilities side of it. Doing that, what we do is I will talk about a case into healthcare company, as well as I will talk about one case where we have recently worked with a business who is into hospitality business. So healthcare company, a case where it's about UK leading full service clinical provider of healthcare out of the hospital, and they have around 2000 employees, of which 1000 are field based. So like it's a big field based operations that they are managing. This is something similar to we have over here into the aged care business, as well as a lot of NDIS providers. This is a pretty important use case that they can also consider. What are the aspirations is to have a laser focus on unique service for every individual client. I've been working into aged care industry, NDIS, and not-for-profit industry, where this is their very important thing to serve to the community, as well as at the same time improving the service at each and individual level. And because this is so service and resource intensive business, it is more like a logistic organization, right? So doing 50K deliveries a year, every month, not a year, every month, and how they can improvise a small change into the operations can bring in a lot of benefits. So what are the business values? So the key focus discussing with them is the missed deliverables, right? So missed deliverables, you can think about cost reduction and cost efficiency, right? So how does a cost reduction come into the picture? So we can work with call call center team support, how we can empower them, and what kind of tools and technologies that they are provided with. Fleet of drivers with whom it is important that they are getting the right tickets, right dockets to deliver. Also improving from the inventory onto the perishable drug write-off. So reduce as much as possible. That will do a lot of cost saving. And any deliveries which have been failed, getting them back into the stock itself is a cost to the business. So thinking and brainstorming through this, that what individual team is doing and how we can improve onto those missed deliverables, going through optimizing the call center operations, optimizing the fleet of drivers, like fleet team drivers, on what tools and technologies we can give them and how we can improve onto their experience, how we can decrease the volume of drugs, perishable drugs going into the bin and taking back into the stock. So all this reduce efforts to reduce all these aspects of it helps it improve the cost reduction for the business. So then we talk about staff efficiencies, cost per delivery, and cost of drugs written off, and staff efficiencies. So we go into those details at an individual level for individual business and identify and then further drag into the various business areas. So this is the method we use, and there is a lot of proof and data being collected during this workshop and engagement. And then we go through not just the cost reduction that we are discussing about, but we also see what would be from the revenue driving aspect of it, what could be from the risk management aspect of it. So we also take care of those items during this discussion. And we might have start with one cost reduction, missed deliveries as a pain point for a business for the business value assessment. We identify them, but then we grow over a period of time. And then we also identify which is not known to the business initially, as well as scale up into the various aspects of revenue and risk management side of it. So this activity is pretty good. The other example I was talking about was into the hospitality industry in Sydney, and they already had a dynamic CRM in place. But the challenge was due to the COVID, they provide rooms, training rooms. They provide, they are like a training center that they provide catering to the government organization that they can host their training offsite, to the universities, to the people conducting conferences, to the technology companies who wants to have a partner innovation day or partner training day or certification day. They do all those, they provide facilities for that. So during COVID, they had to innovate because everything was locked down and they wanted to start a studio business. So how, after going through this business value assessment, we identified and helped them further extend with Microsoft solutions and use of Microsoft partner ecosystem through ISV solutions, help them build those documentation, help them build through the unified platform to reduce multiple integrated systems and the cost associated with it, and also help them grow the business on those lines. So there is a lot of, if you have a business case, we work with you on different through this business value assessment and help to go through that. And then we produce a report like a roadmap and journey, but also an executive summary with the investment as well as the benefit over 1 to up to 5 years of the business. Depending on individual business case, we produce this kind of summaries. I would like to take one case on this. So Interreach is one of our customer for whom we have implemented Business Central for many years. In almost 5 years, we have implemented and maintaining it. And they came to us with a requirement, a compliance related requirement. And what they wanted to do is they have multiple suppliers. They provide services into aged care and disability care. And they have multiple suppliers, probably in hundreds of suppliers, around 600 plus suppliers. And their requirement is to maintain compliance, that the supplier contracts are signed in time, and then supplier contracts are up to date, their licenses are up to date, their insurance are up to date, and their rates and everything are managed. But at the same time, they also wanted to maintain the supplier register within the Business Central system. So rather than going and finding out a new supplier management system, we help them develop a solution where they can manage the supplier within Business Central, but extend to the suppliers, the external stakeholders through Power Platform. So we develop a Power Platform, a Power Pages website for suppliers where they can come, enroll, new suppliers can register, update their required documents, and in the backend, all this information is updated into the Business Central. Doing so, what has happened is we also set up alerts. So one of the pain point for customer is to definitely maintain a register, but at the same time keep it up to date. With which supplier contract is coming to an expiration, which supplier licenses, certificates, and insurance needs a renewal or an updated copy. So we configured the system in a way that they can get an alerts on this. So which helps them to maintain their compliance as well as maintain that supplier experience, engaging with them helps them doing all work quite efficiently. So it did bring down cost reduction in terms of the employees hours involved, the delays it used to have, but it also helped them getting a complete visibility across their compliance in relation to the supplier management. So classic case, as I was discussing during start of this session, that whether it is a big major change of overhauling the ERP or CRM systems or developing new systems, or it is just a minor small projects can help you achieve what you're looking forward to achieve through these engagements. And the other customer I would like to talk about, Bitzer, and a couple of episodes ago, their managing director also came on and spoke about what they did going on to this journey. So we sat down with them, we understood what they are looking forward to achieve. They were onto the Microsoft AX system, which is an on-prem system, and we helped them move to the cloud. And when we moved them to the cloud, we helped them implement Dynamics 365 finance and operations at that time. Now it is called supply chain management. We moved them to the cloud, implemented, managed for 3 years. But during that time, they were having similar issues like they had a contractors because they are into an HVAC system. They have a contractors and who go and maintain the air conditioning system, but at the same time, they have a spare part requirement. So their equipments are pretty sophisticated into the commercial air conditioning system. So they need to have an engineering team understand what spare part requirement is and give them a code to it. Now that was all manual process. Now they wanted to extend that process. So we implemented the customer service as well as Dynamics 365 sales to further extend that functionality and help them gain through this entire cycle through this Dynamics 365 ecosystem. So a great case study. And then the system implemented helped them move from uh, uh, complete on-prem, reducing that management aspect of it to completely going to a cloud where it is a vendor managed cloud and not to worry about environment and other aspects Phil was talking about in the 5 hours of modernization. So yeah, that are quite a good case studies we have, and not only that, we have quite other case studies where we have worked onto the Power Platform. So recently, we just extended a business who has 2.8 million visits to their website, Ozim, and they are into the mining industry. They're an association for metallurgy and mining companies. So a lot of members that they have, they visit to their website, they help conferences and all. So extending Copilot Studio, bringing AI and helping reducing that stress onto the customer service agents by use of Copilot Studio helps them a lot. So that's all from the presentation and discussion through how you can identify and how Exigo Tech can be a catalyst into this. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and we can take your questions, as well as we will be sending this recording to the team, and we'll be also hosting it on a YouTube for your future reference. Fantastic. So if no questions, I just wanted to update onto our next event. We have an upcoming Lunch and Learn, a fantastic opportunity to know about manage security as a service, which is we are hosting in Barangaru on 26th of September. So we will send the invite to all people who have registered for this particular event. There would be a link for registration on that. And the next episode is on 17th of October, Thursday, 3 p.m. So 3 third Thursday, 3 p.m. So pretty interesting. We will be talking the second steps of outgrowing your systems and how we can help you move into the latest systems. Thank you, Phil. Thanks for your attendance today and your insights.
Look, thank you very much, Vinay. I really appreciate the chance to work with you guys at Exigo Tech. You've got a great team there. You continue to grow in the capabilities and skills that you offer. And I appreciate the passion with which you bring this series to the customers. And I do hope that they embark on some of the links that you've shared and the journey with you guys.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everyone.